And Arsenal won, Chelsea 0. We are through to the final of the Carabao Cup, our first cup final at Wembley for many, many years, Jonny. How are we feeling? It feels good to be going back to Wembley again, doesn't it? It's been a while.
Oh, it's been a while. It's been 6 years. Well, unless you count Community Shields, it's been 6 years. That Havertz goal, I celebrated probably more than I should have because there wasn't much to be excited about in that match, but I loved it. He rounded the keeper like prime R9. It was beautiful to see. It was it was very satisfying that end to that game. And particularly Havertz, so you know I'm massively team Havertz, so him scoring that goal was the cherry on top. And we're going to a final. We've got to celebrate these moments, Laura. Important.
We do, and as always, the very normal people on the internet are saying all sorts about Arsenal being boring and the game being cagey. I'm just here to say I don't care because we didn't have to win that game. And we're not here to entertain. We were here to get the job done. And that's what I want to focus on. We have got the job done. We have got over this semi-final hoodoo that we've had for a while. And we are on our way to a final. And frankly, I don't care how we've got there at all. But you're right, that Kai Havertz goal at the end, I also did a bit of a little lap of this room in a kind of very, very corny way.
Yeah.
Let's touch upon the game itself, though, because obviously, you know, one of those games where I think if you take a step back, not a lot of threat, not a lot of jeopardy. We barely had a shot in the second half, but also Chelsea had nothing either. So, Jonny, did that game play out how you thought it was going to?
Yeah. When I saw the lineup, I saw Chelsea's 5-3-2 formation. I kind of expected what we saw in the end because I thought that it was an opportunity today. If we were a super brave and offensive, if we were Barcelona, we would have gone for the jugular straight away. But Liam sort of knew. He left 2 men up top, 5 at the back, packed midfield. Let's stay in the game. His tactic and how he wanted to control the narrative was, look, we're going to stay in the game to half time. We're still going to be in a tie late on into this game. And then I'll bring on the Cole Palmers and Estevals. And in many ways, you can look at it and say, okay, maybe they controlled the narrative for 60, 70 minutes. Not a lot happened though. And I was saying this earlier to friends when they were talking about how boring we are for the 17th time this week. Well, you got to also look at what teams do against us. They did not have a chance. They didn't have a shot. Arteta probably thought, you know what, we'll manage this game. It will be an efficient second leg where we've got the lead already. And so both managers are probably pretty happy after 70 minutes with the fact that nothing had really happened. But then Liam brings on we'll get onto it, but Liam brings on the players that he wanted to bring on and tried to make a change the shape, and it has no effect because we are impregnable, Laura, to be fair.
And I think you've just said it there. There was a bit of a moment in 60, 70 minutes in where they're still in the game. We're maybe starting to get a bit nervous. But I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't feel that nervous towards the end of it. All I could think of was, let me just check my diary to make sure that I'm free on the cup final. Let me make sure that I, can get to the game. I love going to Wembley. It's my favourite thing in the world. Like, I'm so excited. But I just didn't feel there was that much jeopardy. Even when they had a couple of free kicks, when Cole Palmer comes on, it just didn't really have the effect. And to be honest, a lot of the commentary was around, this has been a real tactical, genius from Liam Rosenior. And I'm thinking, no, it hasn't. They needed a goal and they haven't scored. And also, you're now relying on us making a mistake, which I think sort of played into our hands a bit because we are still very, very solid at the back. So I don't know whether you felt nervous at all, Jonny, or just maybe a bit bored.
Do you know what? I was a bit bored, but I like that. I think we take it for granted how secure we are defensively because at that moment there when they had that Cole Palmer free kick after about 80 minutes and you're thinking, oh my God. And I saw the wall creeping forward and we ended up giving them about 6 yards to play with on that free kick. And I thought, this is like prime Juventus of the 90s in terms of how we're managing this game, which is like and we take it for granted. They didn't have a shot didn't have a shot in the box. They didn't create any real clear-cut chances. Every shot they had really was from outside the area. Not one of their crosses beat the first man. We managed that game, really. It weren't pretty to watch, but we didn't have to be pretty. Our team's in the final. All of the rival fans criticising us for being boring. We're your team. Were you lot playing tonight? No. Well, exactly. So let's celebrate the team. Celebrate and not take for granted how defensively secure we have become, because those games, if we were, let's go back even 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, back to the Wenger era. If we were 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, I would have been shitting myself. There was none of that tonight. Like you said, we were both looking at our diary and trying to figure out how we're going to get to Wembley.
100%. If you think about the last time we actually went to Wembley for a Carabao Cup final, and we had Mustafi, and I was at that game, I can remember it. It was freezing cold, absolutely freezing cold, and we conceded. I think it bounced over Mustafi's head. And you fast forward to now, and you're absolutely right. No, it wasn't pretty, but I think it was excellent, just kind of management of the situation and the occasion rather than the performance, if that makes sense. We didn't create a lot going forward, and I think, you know, we're not going to go into it now. It is a little bit disappointing that we're kind of seeming to lapse back into, you know, playing like we did in those games where we drew. But that just isn't important in games like this. And for so long, we've cried for this team to get over the line. Like the number of times I've said that this season, that we just want them to get over the line. And they've done that tonight. And I think huge credit to Arteta for kind of sort of almost dragging them kicking and screaming towards that line. Yeah.
And I said it earlier in the WhatsApp group. It reminded me a little bit of a Jose versus Rafa mid-2000s game. Not a lot happens, very, very tense. And one manager manages their team to a final. What's wrong with that? We've had a lot of comparisons with the 05-06 Chelsea Jose team. I don't mind those comparisons, because I know that we can be this team. Now we can be a very mature and very sensible team that can stroll into a semi-final, and we can blast away teams as well. We do it both ways. We may need to blast away probably City in the final in March. And also, once we do that, and these are the moments, these little milestones of getting to semi-finals and managing it and having zero jeopardy in the game across the whole tie, really. It's these bits of experience that allow us to then really be a little bit braver when it comes to bigger games later on in the season. These are the stepping stones you need to have. So
I've always said, I think Arteta's record in these domestic cups has been quite patchy. And there is a skill that comes with managing a team to win these types of games that I don't think he's been particularly good at. And there is a skill that these players have not been very good at, of just kind of bedding in and getting over the line. And like you said, it is reminiscent of the kind of early noughties, very sort of not dull is the wrong word, but kind of just sort of frustrating each other teams. But we in this kind of day and age get so used to like demanding entertainment. But I think if you look at that, you go, actually, this is one team that is on its way to great things, and another team with a brand new manager who had a couple of tricks. Don't get me wrong, there were a couple of interesting things, like what they did with the first corner we got. But I just think we are head and shoulders above Chelsea at the moment, and tonight shows that, even if it wasn't particularly dominant in terms of the stats. I don't know what you thought about when they first did that corner, but I was like, oh, what's this? This is very new.
He's full of tricks, Liam Rosenior. I saw him have a laugh. There was a chuckle in his press conference earlier when the reporter mentioned that we hadn't won anything for a long time, and I got sent this video by a load of people, a load of rival fans, and I was like, mate, you have no idea what was really going through Liam Rosenior's head. He could have been thinking about a funny exchange he had with a ladybird earlier in the day. You do not know and even today on the touchline, if you wanted entertainment, anyone who was watching our manager and Liam Rosenior on the touchline, that was hilarious. There was a point where he was trying to control balls at the sky. Mikel Arteta was having a hilarious moan at the ref, and he got a yellow card. That's where the entertainment was, and that suited me, because it meant that we strolled into a final. That I'd rather the entertainment be there and the jeopardy be on the touchline than it be on the pitch, which it was tonight.
I know Sky need to reintroduce player cam, but you just get to watch the managers in their technical areas, because Arteta obviously gets a lot of stick for his antics, but Liam Rosenior was really on one this evening. He was even on one during the warm-up. So I noticed him having a bit of a pop at whoever it was when they were warming up, that some of the Arsenal players had strayed into the Chelsea half. Now, I can tell you one thing. I always go, to my seat really early so I can watch the players warm up. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time from both sides, especially when, like, you know, the technical staff are practicing long balls. Like, you know, but he also had the camera on him. I'm like, you're just doing that for show. You're doing that so you can seem like the big guy. But
it's our stadium as well, Laura. Like, we're allowed to do it. It's our gaff. It's our living room. If you want to go and sit on that armchair, we'll go and sit on that armchair. Thank you very much, Liam. But I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. He's trying to convince his players that he is their best mate and he's a warrior for them. And I'm just excited to see how long how far he can take this. I'm your best mate tactic, because it is hilarious.
Does give off that, yeah. I'm not a usual boss. I'm just a chilled kind of like, I'm your best mate. I'm a laid back entertainer type. If we just have a little look at the teams and the lineup that we started off with. So obviously we went with a front three of Gyökeres, Martinelli and Noni Madueke. And I think it's fair to say that they struggled against Chelsea. For me, that three in particular all have the same kind of challenges when it comes to decision making. So watching them all do it at the same time, I think was challenging. And obviously we're without Saka for the next couple of games. Jonny, what did you think of Eze in this particular game? We've talked about Eze on the pod previously about how you know he offers something slightly different. I think this was another challenging game for him. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think along with the front three, and excuse my language here, Laura, it's a bit all fart, no poo. To be fair, I mean, I look at they do a lot of good things, but like all of them, Eze today struggled to impose himself. And I'm wondering what that is. I said to you in the WhatsApp chat that we don't look for Eze, but he also doesn't come looking for the ball. So he lets games just pass by. Against Kairat, he found a little bit more space. He took control of the game a little bit, but he lets games pass him by sometimes, Eze. You can go, 15 minutes will pass and you think, has he touched the ball? And he's supposed to be the player. If you want to sort of be dictating an attack and sort of dominating an opposition team, you see it sort of needs your creative players on the ball more. So I wonder what that is. I don't know whether it's by design. I think that I noticed even against Leeds, our player, if it's not Odegaard, Havertz, the ball passes him a lot because we play over the middle and we play to the side. So it is hard for the central creative player to get on the ball in the way we play. That's why Odegaard drops in, sometimes drops deep to come and get the ball. But sometimes you need to do that. You can't just allow it and just think, you know what, the ball's going over my head or going out to the side. It keeps missing me.
Watching it.
Watching it. You got to sometimes go and get the ball. And I feel like he needs time in the team. I said on another podcast the other day, we might sell him in the summer. That was a little bit strong, and I take it back because I love him. I do love him. He's a man of God, and and I felt bad saying that. But yeah, he needs to find a way to impose himself more in the game, Laura.
Yeah, and I think today's, particularly how Chelsea was set up and how I think how just frustrating the game entirely wasn't the best environment for him to do that in. But equally, you want him to step up and not get sucked into what the kind of game plan was from Chelsea, which from the offset was just to frustrate us, to kind of like really, really give us no time on the ball. And I think, look, we're being very nitpicky here, but we have standards at Arsenal. We have standards, and you know it is important as well that we carry a bit of confidence through these games as well. Again, the result, we've got what we needed. It would have been nice if we'd have blown Chelsea off the park. It would have been nice if maybe our front players had not all dropped about a 4 or 5 out of 10 performance. But it doesn't matter. And I think this is proof that defence, again, the old cliche, defence can win titles. Like this is what was for us for today. And I think that couldn't have been more true this evening, even against a Chelsea team who have some very, very good attackers. Like there were times when I thought, God, if only Liam Delap could finish. Like, you know, he was a little bit tricky, and you know we coped with it well. But it really is again proof of how good our defensive line are.
Yeah, and our defensive line and Kepa tonight. I've got to give big up Kepa. Because coming into teams after 5-6 games out here and there and looking as solid, I mean, as you know, your keeper sort of sets the tone a lot of the time. A shaky keeper can lead to shaky performances. And he was spot on tonight. He didn't put a foot wrong, didn't have much to do. But when he was asked what he was asked to do, he did very well, and he was very good with his distribution, and he set a very calm tone. And tonight was a night all about defence and not putting a foot wrong, and slowly and smoothly strolling into the final, and it was that.
Kepa is the reason that we are in this semi-final anyway, as he made that penalty save against Crystal Palace just before Christmas. So
exactly,
again, I completely agree. He deserves his flowers. There were some rumbles that David Ryan might start tonight just because of the kind of the occasion, but I think Kepa really, really did a good job, and facing not a huge amount of pressure. I think they had more shots than us, but only one on target. Again, I would apply the same language to Chelsea, which is all fart and no poo at the Emirates.
Exactly.
So Man City host Newcastle tomorrow. They host them with a 2-0 lead. I think it's fair to say that we're probably going to see a Man City Arsenal final. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a great opportunity to put a flag in the sand to really stamp our mark on the title race. It's going to come, that game is towards the back end of March, so it's very late, this cup final this year. Normally it would be a great opportunity to get that confidence of winning something early, but it's going to be towards the running. That's going to pretty much start the running. So not only is it important to win that trophy and, get that monkey off our back, but it's going to also set the tone for the running for the games coming after that, because we'll have about 8 games left after that. And I think we'll be even further ahead by then. But if we're not, and Man City are closer to us, that game becomes humongous. And they will go through, because Newcastle have no players for tomorrow. Their whole midfield's out. So they're going to stroll through to that final. And we win that game, and then we can really start thinking about quadruples and trebles. And so and I do feel as though, like I said, we need to win this game. I think the players need to know that they can do it. It's not the big trophy. It's not the one we all really want, but it really is a massive confidence booster. And I think what this team needs to go and win bigger honours. So and the losses, I can't even think about a loss, if I'm honest. So let's not even mention that.
Yeah, and the confidence you've just mentioned there as well, I think that's an important one that actually the result today will give us. So I think the scenes at the Emirates when Kai Havertz rounded the keeper there, put it in.
Glorious.
Absolutely wild. And, it has been difficult at the Emirates at home for the past couple of games. The atmosphere's been nervous. But do you think, Jonny, that this, just the manner of how that goal went in, we could take forward to Sunderland? I think we keep saying it, but the vibes feel like they're coming back to Arsenal after a tricky period. I think it's quite hard to overestimate how a goal like that, particularly Kai Havertz, scoring against his old club, that's the loudest and the wildest, we will have seen the Emirates for a long time. Like that, I think that could also lift us going into Saturday.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And then also congratulations to everyone that actually stayed, because even I might have, because in that rain and it being so late on a Tuesday night, everyone got what they deserved that stayed. So I do think it was massively important. It gave us it's the proper lift. I feel we started this podcast, I was on a little bit of a high, and I wouldn't have been without that goal. So it is, even though we already would have qualified, that was a big moment. And I think it's important for Kai as well, because he took that with some real composure and conviction as well. I've got to say that. Like I said,
he might kiss the badge, but from what I've seen for the replays, he didn't. But he's a respectful man, and we support him in that. But I agree. I think the lift that you said, this, even though he didn't need it, we were probably already through there. Arteta was going crazy on the touchline for the final whistle, but ultimately we kind of got the final sucker punch, and we are off to Wembley. Before we finish, Jonny, when was the last time you went to Wembley to watch Arsenal? Have you been to a final recently?
Well, the Community Shield, I think, was the last one I went to.
That counts. That's fine. That's fine.
And you know what? I had a funny story from that. We were 1-0 down, I think I remember, and I left the stadium early that day, right? And I left after about 92 minutes, and we ended up equalising. So I've had to, with about another 100 Arsenal fans, we've had to not fight security, pass through security, and we actually rushed into someone else's box, and they allowed us to watch the rest of that and watch the penalties after from that box. But it was good memories. We'll do that again. Another victory against Man City. We know how to win at Wembley. We love Wembley, by the way. We love Wembley.
You do love Wembley. Well, fingers crossed for not only the game, but for all of us about to enter the ballot for tickets, and pray that we can see Arsenal maybe lift their first, but not last, silverware of the season. So look, the vibes
the first
are back.
Of four, Laura. The first of four.
Sorry, the first of four. Get this one out of the way, on to the next one. The vibes are back. We're going to Wembley. Que sera. Happy days. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the thing about Arsenal. Go and be annoying at work tomorrow. Do your worst. We are back on Friday with Jim. So make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening or watching to make sure you don't miss it. Jonny, thank you very much for joining me.
Up the gun, Laura. Up the gun.